travelers. It's Friday. That means it's time for Cast Guidance. I'm Tier the DM, the world's okayest DM. And with me, as always, is Raph the Mad. Hey, Raph.
Greetings, gamers.
And the unruly Locke Clark.
Hello there.
Couple of quick announcements. First and foremost, we offer mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. We do not endorse the use of nicotine products such as vaping. Just because we do it doesn't mean you should. We want you to be happy and healthy. We are in no way, shape, or form affiliated with Wizards of the Coast. We're just questionable individuals giving our questionable opinions. And finally, this is my last episode on Cast Guidance.
Boo! Hiss. Unsubscribe.
Don't unsubscribe. We're still
Don't do
here,
that.
Locke. We have no topic for today. We're just going to bullshit today. Spend some time talking with you, our viewers. Talking about any topics that you guys, gals, and non-binary pals want to talk about.
Right.
So, what do you want to talk about?
We're going to do announcements?
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I'm tired. I'm trying to adjust from working night shift for the last 4 years to get into a day shift schedule. So, my brain is mush. Give us the announcements, Locke.
Hi, gamers. I'm Locke Clark. And I'm going to take a moment to talk to you about first our musician, the person who made our theme song that you heard as we came in, who we love and appreciate. And that's our very own Patrick Taylor. Thanks, Peculiar Patrick. Secondly, we would like to thank our partners in this endeavor. We're going to run through them real quick. They are Red Panda Dice and Delights. You can find them at redpandadice.com. Somewhere over here I have buried. Here we go. I'll grab a D6 because that's what's easy to grab. There we go. Get that in the light. There's a D6. It's got the nice Red Panda logo on the 6. It is a very pretty die, as you can see. And you can go to redpandadice.com and check those out. Also, we would like to thank NordVPN. They provide a security package for all your devices, military-grade encryption. They let you change your location so that no one can figure out where you are. They search the deep web for your information having gotten out. And they let you do things like watch Netflix from other countries where they have different options. And you should go check them out. To do that, you're going to go to our website, willowdice.com, and you're going to click the link there, and that will let them know that you came from us, and that helps us out a bunch. Also, we would like to thank Phineas Coffee. They provide highly caffeinated coffee for gamers. It is delicious, and you should try it. And to do that, you're going to go to bit.ly/WOTD Phineas. That's bit.ly/WOTD Phineas for all your coffee and caffeine while gaming needs.
Yes. 'Tis me, 'tis I, Raph the Mad, here to pontificate about what time it is today. Today, we should all go out to patreon.com and look up Will of the Dice and select subscribe, support, help support this channel. When you subscribe to Will of the Dice Patreon, you get access to After the Rolls. We discuss all the fuckery that Tier does to us, and it's a lot, especially after last week's episode. You're a bastard. So yes, you also get access to audio dramas. You get access to everything before we send it out to YouTube and Podbean. So yes, seriously, folks, when you get out there and support us, it really does help this channel. It does help keep us going, helps pay some of our bills. So please support us.
And we have partnered with Red Panda Dice and Delights. The next 17 subscribers gets a 55mm D20. It is a chunky boy. It be sexy. Go subscribe. Get your chunk.
Chunky.
All right. There's our announcements.
Yay, announcements.
Yay.
Yes.
Yeah, I made Lolly cry Saturday night. It was glorious.
Yes, it was an episode. I've gone around the track, listened to it because I couldn't make it, so I was trying to play catch up, and I'm going, no, don't do that. It's intellect. people are looking at me funny. Yes, it was very well done, Tyr.
Thank you.
Yes, all about the feels. And poor Nan.
I felt so bad for Nan. And then like Nan keeps trying to take it on herself. And this is
Mhm.
somehow her fault. When it was Laz that did the thing. And Laz is like, no, you're not taking the blame for this. You're not putting this on your own shoulders. This was me. You tried to help me. And that's what caused this. Because I touched the thing.
Mhm.
And then got run through by myself. I don't know. Like, yeah. So
I figure we're all going to have to touch the portraits because, some portent prophecy thing. But no, it went entirely different direction.
Right? Yeah, no, I did not expect to catch a curse off of experiencing the tapestry. I thought, well, maybe I'll learn something cool about my character's backstory that I don't know. Because for those of you who don't know, I wrote Tyr the blankest of blank checks for Laz. Like, I came up with a very, very minimalist. I know a couple of things that Laz doesn't know, but mostly I don't know. I left it in Tyr's hands, and Tyr hasn't told me. So, like, I don't know what's coming. I don't know what's in Laz's backstory. So I was like, cool. I'm gonna learn something, which is why I was so keen on getting a helmet off of one of the people in this army, so I could get a clue. But then that just made more questions because they were all me, and I don't understand. And so I don't know what fuckery Tyr has planned for me and how I woke up at that pile in that bottom of the pile of dead bodies.
What? Fuckery?
I was going to say, Tyr? Fuck? No.
Yeah, so yeah, it did feel good, I will say, though, to be the one who verbalized the putting it together and figuring out that we were dealing with a fractured aspect of Amari Amber. Since I was the one that put us there in the beginning.
Well,
I was the one
got to it too.
Yes, no. But I was the one who vocalized it. Was what I said. Not that Brika didn't figure it out too, but what Brika said in the huddle is what really started turning Laz's gears. But Laz getting to step up and the last time that Laz stepped up and called someone out on what they considered to be bullshit, it went horribly. And so Laz stepping up this time and calling someone out on what they considered to be bullshit, and having it work, basically having it be the right thing to do in the moment, really feels like character growth. For Laz,
there's no way it could go horrible.
No way it could go horribly wrong. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying we're going to survive this combat, but the fact that Laz got to be right in that moment is very vindicating for Laz as a character, having fucked that up once before. So, I mean, look, we've all touched things we shouldn't have touched.
You mean like a certain Kender is almost
or a red orb that the Kender pocketed for that caused a bunch of shit to happen, or I don't know, a weird box or a statue, or I mean, you name it, we've touched it and it's gone badly. So that's
Well, going back to a little bit though, that's kind of that's one of the highlights of being a DM is like you get to set some things up, you get to watch some character growth.
Yeah,
and you see that light of ding, aha! Oh, they figured it out. Good job.
Yeah, and I think it was that most of us had figured it out. We were just all trying to find how our characters got there. We were all trying not to metagame it. And After Brika said what Brika said, I felt justified in Laz jumping to where Laz jumped to making that leap of, well, this is how I'd do it. Why would you take something that wasn't? Why would you take something from somebody else? And now you want us to kill someone who's mentally
Handicapped?
deficient.
Yes.
Yeah. Someone whose intellect isn't there.
Because you
Why
have
would you want that? Because you don't want to go back. And those two things together led to, you're real clever. I see what you're doing here. You're using, you're using Oracle and prophecy as a disguise. And that's what I would do if I was really smart.
Mm-hmm. So
The one thing that people don't know behind the curtain, when Nan offered herself, I rolled to see if they were going to just kill Nan on the spot.
oof. Yeah,
And
there's been a lot of lucky rolls on our end sometimes.
Yeah, and then you add to all of that the fact that Laz is the one that started it, and Laz, I guess because I rolled correctly on that D100 roll, I didn't get a price.
You
got cured.
did.
Okay.
Oh, there's a price. You just haven't figured out what it is yet.
Does
Well,
the price go away if we kill the bitch?
No.
You don't have to tell me that. Yeah.
is Tara a bastard? Yes. Okay, there you go.
But to Laz, at the moment, Laz hasn't figured out what the price was, so Laz thinks maybe they didn't take a price from him, but now they want to take something from Brika? Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
And they want us, in exchange for not taking Brika, they want us to kill Amari Amber? Fuck you.
Nope. So, see what else we got. Oh, yes. As if people haven't been paying attention for our audience, Variety did a news article stating that D&D is now doing a 24-hour Twitch stream coming this summer, or a live stream or streamcast this summer. They're going to have shows about cooking shows. They're going to do a series of live stream D&D games, a comedy D&D game with rotating cast members. You go out looking at it. It looks to be interesting. It's going to be free. It's going to be ad funded, so expect commercials. That's an interesting. We'll see if it happens, but it's an interesting out of the blue thing.
It does seem out of the blue, but at the same time, like, as a corporation, this is not an unexpected. Because you look around at the number of content creators who are making money off of creating things and providing content on the internet around D&D. And them having their own channel where they're making money off that content doesn't seem like a big stretch. It seems like a no-brainer and something that I'm surprised it took them this long to do. My hope is that the people they put on their channel, that they start bringing in good content creators that are already out there and making them legitimately D&D creators.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could totally see them bringing people like Ginny D, who does awesome D&D content and cosplay and stuff, on for something like that. I don't know of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there are people out there on YouTube, I just haven't gone looking for them, who are doing D&D inspired recipes and cooking shows. I'm sure those already exist. Mev had an idea to do that long ago. So I'm sure it exists on the internet, and I hope they find people who are already prominently doing that and bring them in and give them a platform with and provide them with equipment and shit to make it high production value and to do it and make it, this provides room for them to include people under the official umbrella and legitimize the content they're creating in a lot of. So I really, really hope that they. I know they did a lot during like when they were promoting Honor Among Thieves. They sent a lot of content creators a big cardboard box that turned into a mimic that had a bunch of cool stuff in it, a lot of movie merch and things based on the movie to let them sort of unbox and review it.
Oh, speaking of,
yeah.
let's put a tag on that. Tier finally saw the movie.
Yeah.
So we can talk about the movie finally.
We can. Holy
Yes,
shit.
I got a rules question first, so.
Okay, let's do the rules question and then but yeah, no, just to put a button on that. It's cool, and I hope that they it's cool that they finally are doing a channel run by Wizards of the Coast, and I hope that they bring in content creators who are already voices in the D&D community to participate in that channel. Anyway, rules question.
Yes.
Raise Dead.
Uh-oh.
Can it be used on Laz?
Ooh.
Okay, well, hold on.
I'm going to say yes.
I think so, but hold on. I want to. There's
Ooh.
I'm sure there's info. I know how to look this up since I know all of Laz's details.
Oh, well, what do you mean by raised while he's still alive or after he's fallen over dead?
After he's fallen over dead. They fall in combat. They fail their death saves. Would Raise Dead work? I know Revivify would work. But would Raise Dead?
That's a very good question. I would say yes. Although that'd be some interesting role play opportunities because are you going to get Laz back? Considering Laz seems to be made of multiple people, multiple personalities, is Laz going to be the prominent personality this time around?
Because it specifically states in Raise Dead that it doesn't affect undead.
Laz is not undead.
So the reborn don't count as undead?
I'm verifying something. Hold on. You get a choice when you make a reborn. Racial trait.
As we look, yes. While he's looking, audience, if you have questions, pipe up. Feel free to ask. Today is going to be just us bullshitting, answering questions, and going various random tangents. So make Tyr think in his cloudy, foggy mind with no sleep. Now is the time to plumb the depths when he has no filter. Does he plan on murdering the entire?
Oh, they changed that. Interesting. They made a change to the to the Reborn Legacy at some point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when I first chose the Reborn Legacy, I had to choose between two options, and undead was one of the options. They have changed that and just made it a feature called Deathless Nature. So yes, Raise Dead would work on Laz, rules as written.
Cool.
Interesting. Oh, well, that was a different problem.
So, originally, when I made the character, when the Reborn Legacy first came out, and I wonder if they now I got to check that too.
Well, are you checking that? I've got a follow up.
Well, hold on, but real quick, I'll finish what I was saying though while I'm looking this up. You got to choose. You chose between undead or construct, and I checked the Raise Dead spell. Raise Dead does not work on constructs either, so Raise Dead would not have worked on a reborn previously. because they were either an undead or a construct. Now they have a feature called Deathless Nature, so they're no longer considered a construct. And I've been playing thinking that I was a construct because that's what I chose of the two options I was given. But yeah, that's
That's interesting. Well, all right, let's do with your follow up because I have a follow up
Yeah.
to the follow up because it's a different
Yeah.
issue.
Go ahead.
So
Tier.
this is specific to Laz.
Okay.
By the way, that you talked about how Laz is put together with the script and the scars and everything.
Mhm.
So the question is, what happens if Laz walks into an anti-magic field?
I have an answer to that, but my answer is based on on the suggestion that I made for what caused Laz to wake up at the bottom of that grave. But I said this is just a suggestion. What actually happened is up to you. So I don't know if you want me to talk about what my suggestion was, because that's integral to my answer.
Yeah.
Okay. So my theory or my suggestion for what happened with Laz was that Laz that there was some sort of entity, some sort of possibly symbiotic entity that grabbed various body parts and regenerated them as it absorbed them and formed Laz into a being. And the script all over Laz's body are the lines where new pieces were added, grabbing what they could out of the pile, basically. And so those lines in my mind are just a remnant of the process that this entity used to form the body that it is living in as a symbiotic organism. What that entity is, I don't know. I don't know if that's even right. That's just my idea of what it could be. Did Tyr keep that idea? I don't know, because I don't know how I got here. But that was my initial thought, was that Laz is put together by, and that something living in Laz also means that, like, there's a chance that, and I love this idea, and I hope that Tyr would allow it. Like, if Laz dies but isn't destroyed, or even if Laz is, eventually that entity would be able to pull the body back together and bring Laz back. It might take 30 years, which means that Laz could wake up and pop into a campaign down the road. If Laz dies, Laz might just show back up and be like, hi, what's going on? How long has it been? And I love that idea because I have Deathless Nature. I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, so many questions at this point. But back to the overall issue. I guess, especially with the D&D online platform, it's really easy for them to make changes to the rules and people not catch it.
Yeah. Because they don't make announcements.
Yes, and that I have an issue with. Because, like, okay, I've run it, cool, I've been running this, and especially if I have a physical copy of the book, and they change the rule, and now I've got discrepancy.
Well, I think, to be fair, when I made Laz, Reborn was still UA. And then they released Ravenloft, and it became an official lineage you could take. And I think the change happened between when it went from UA to an actual race. And so I think that's where the change happened. So I'm not going to be. I don't want to say that they changed the rules on me. I was playing a playtest when I made the character. But by the time we went to stream, that lineage had come out and was official. And so I think when it became official, there were some changes made. And it's on me that I never went back to look at that specific aspect because it's not listed on the character sheet. I'm just listed as humanoid, but even constructs can be humanoid. That's where it gets a little complicated. So
Yes.
yeah.
And then
Yes, 2 questions. It is exactly the Frankenstein's monster. That is what the Reborn was meant to be. They in that set of lineages, they gave us sort of a hagborn, someone who was slowly over a long period of time turning into a hag, which is the Hexblood. They gave us the Damnfear, which is a half vampire, so you can play out your Castlevania Alucard fantasies, and then they gave us the Reborn, which gave us a way to play 2 of the main characters from the Wizard of Oz as well as Frankenstein's monster. You could literally be the straw man if you want to.
wasn't that an actual Ravenloft adventure at one point? Oh, that's involved marionettes and puppets. Creepy. So, anyways, D&D movie. What'd you think, Tier?
We're not going to talk about it right now because people haven't seen it. So
We can do spoiler-free talking.
I can't.
Okay.
So
Oh, but
no, we'll have that conversation offline. There's multiple people that
Jonathan-
haven't seen it.
I'm trying
So you're saying we can't talk about it until Jonathan gets here?
Yes.
If you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hold on. I'm checking one more thing based on what I just read. But D&D Beyond is being really slow, so y'all feel free to fill time while I answer this question that's burning in my mind. For anyone who doesn't know, by the way, I am neurospicy. I have the ADHD's pretty bad, and sometimes when my brain gets posed as a question, or gets posed a question, I can't let it go until I know.
Fair enough. I think we're all kind of on the tired side. I got luggage under my eyes. Been a long week. So, audience, yes, please pipe up. We enjoy your interactions. But yeah, Lineage.
See, I know what would happen if Laz walked into an anti-magic field.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to. You're the DM.
Yeah.
Although I find it interesting that we don't know who Laz's Patreon is.
That I do know.
Uh-huh.
Laz knows.
Okay, we as
well,
players,
Laz doesn't know. Locke knows.
We as the players of the party, that has never been really brought up or dug into yet.
Laz has told Laz's story.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that Laz woke up at the pile of dead bodies, clawed their way out, and then as they were clawing their way out from under the mass grave, a portal opened. Someone stepped out, dropped a sword in front of Laz, and said, "Take this. Grow stronger. They need you to be stronger. I need you to be stronger." And then left. Or I'm sorry, I need you to be stronger. She needs you to be stronger, or something like that. Left. I have it written down. I don't have to remember it right now.
David has a random thought about that. Let's see. You mentioned last week that Harry Dresden is part warlock.
Yes.
So he says that similar comic somewhere that John Constantine would absolutely be a warlock as well.
John Constantine has made enough deals that yes.
I can see that kind of.
Two Questions has an interesting take that if you cut a bit off of Laz, that would work for true resurrection, and then Laz's old body would continue on as the reborn.
Ooh,
That could actually work, yeah.
That would have very interesting repercussions.
Provided that both of the people are actually dead that Laz is made from, which I'm pretty sure they are, but I don't know what Tyr knows. So yeah. Whose thumb was that you got? I don't know. I have to cut off my pinky like a Yakuza.
Or answer a question about what your favorite book is. I don't know. Oh, ow.
Yeah.
Don't get old, folks. It's a horrible choice.
It really is. Yeah. So,
John Constantine. I don't know. Well, yeah, you're right. He made a lot of deals. He's made a lot of deals with devils. I'm not so sure he'd be a warlock, though.
I think he's a sorcerer warlock multi-class, quite frankly.
Getting old when sleeping is an extreme sport.
Truth. Yeah, I've got the Dampier up on my screen on the other side here because it was there. Looking at because when I made my original character to jump in on Will of the Dice, I chose a Dampier, but I didn't use the Dampier rules because I didn't have them at the time. I'm not sure I want Tyr to run a Ravenloft campaign. His mind's warped as it is.
So the thing I've been working on, answering in the background, is does Raised Dead work on Warforged? I believe Warforged, it doesn't say specifically that you have construct resilience as a racial feature. It doesn't list that you are a construct anywhere that I can find, or that you're a humanoid. It doesn't say which tag you have. You just have the resilience of a construct as a racial feature. So I'm not sure if you can use Raised Dead on a Warforged.
My ruling would be it depends on the Warforged.
I know, I totally get that.
And two questions hit on the in comments hit on the idea of the way I'd go with it. I'm pretty sure Warforged have souls, the whole bit. They just have artificial bodies, and that's kind of the route I'd take with it. Was if they have a soul and they're more soul and a more human, more sapience, they would be able to use Raised Dead. Ooh, could you use Soul Jar or Clone and such on a Warforged though?
See, here's how I take it. On a standard Warforged, Raised Dead, Soul Jar, Clone and such wouldn't work.
But on a PC?
On a PC, I'll allow it.
Yeah, I think constructs. I think when you put the construct tag on something, that is because it is an automaton. It is a soulless entity that is powered by something else. Some sort of magic is powering it. Much like an undead is powered by magic. It is just a husk of a body that is powered by magic and is going through the motions. It's not really alive. Most undead. There are some intelligent undead that are thinking. Vampires, the higher level undead. So I would classify it like that. Like, there are construct Warforges that are just automatons that appear to be Warforges, but they're not. They don't have the soul of a Warforged. But then there are elevated Warforged. There are Warforged that have a soul that rise above that level of mere automaton. And I think those, you get into the very sticky wicket of what is a soul and who has, and what has one and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I just went through Raised Dead. It no longer mentions construct. It only mentions undead.
Yeah, David.
Really?
Okay, David just put that chat.
So what I found on the interwebs was wrong.
Yeah.
Because I must have found an old answer, because it says constructs, elementals, outsiders, and undead creatures can't be raised. On what I found. But if they've changed the spell, then they changed the spell.
And there's two bits to that question. First, two questions has got kind of pretty much right. Depends on how the nature of your synthetic beings in your campaign exist. So it depends on your world if you want to do that. My other thing is, on the Raised Dead spell, it says spell cannot return an undead creature to life. What if it's a dead creature? We take Mr. Vampire and we kill him again. He is now dead. He's not undead. He's dead. Could you raise him?
No, because he was undead.
But
That's the way I see it. Yeah, he is dead.
Yeah.
But would he come back as a vampire or as a normal person?
He would come back as the original person.
Because you can't raise an undead creature. You can raise the body it was in.
Yeah, I'd say Raised Dead would work on a dead undead. They'd come back as their original living creature, whatever they were. At least that's my thought process behind that.
Hey, that guy's wearing dragon scale armor. I cast True Resurrection.
I saw that
armor and watch him wind up in the belly of a dragon, because that'll be fun.
Assuming the armor is made from the same dragon.
It's fair. It's hard to make dragon scale armor without making it all from the same dragon. I mean, like it would be the piece you cast it on. Because you only need a thumbnail or whatever. You need a small body part. You just need a little. I cast it on that one scale in the middle of his plate. And that's the dragon we get back.
Although there is one, I think, downfall to that. I'm looking it up right now. Come on. True Resurrection.
Yes, Lolly, Pants was a Warforged, but he was also an entity inside a Warforged.
Yes, and that was played out later on. Now, the only issue with True Resurrection, Raised Dead, that's a fun mem. Like, I'm going to cast on his arm. You got to get the guy to hold still for an hour.
It's true. Yeah, no, it's a funny idea. Although, I've been sitting here preparing the spell, casting the spell for an hour, and then the big bad walks in and I hit his armor with it. There's going to be some opportunity somewhere where that has worked.
Yes, but that takes some serious setup.
Yeah,
the player's going to go through that type of setup. I'm almost willing to let them have the reward for it.
Yeah,
we'll see. That would be literally a flip of the dice.
What were you going to say, Tyr?
To expand, Lolly, Pants was a dragonborn named Akatosh that Samson the Gentle placed inside a mechanical suit to keep them alive while their wound healed. And then they wandered off and Samson couldn't find them. And so they wandered for a long time. So that's why things like cure wounds and stuff definitely worked on Pants.
That's why rats could kill him.
Yes.
Yeah, I think D&D has made a concerted effort to, like, it used to be that if you wanted to heal a Warforged, you needed an artificer in the party or someone with mending. And there's not greater mending. There's just mending. So, like, it kind of put playing a Warforged in this weird space where the healer could heal everybody but them. And so you were sacrificing your ability to be healed in combat. And that always felt wrong. Like, yeah, so, like, they have made a concerted effort to take these unusual character ideas that are very fun to play with and make them utility-wise more playable by just giving them features of the thing that they are without making them truly that thing.
Yeah.
The Warforged are no longer constructs. They now have construct-like ability because they are elevated above constructs. They have. The premise of the Warforged was always it was a soul in a tin can.
Yeah.
That was the way that Keith Baker wrote them. And then when D&D implemented them, they had to work it into their system they had, and they made some choices which in retrospect made them harder to play and made them less fun than they should have been. And a lot of DMs just ignored those rules. Said, no, you have a soul. You're in a metal body. It doesn't matter. Cure Wounds works on you. It's divine magic. So that's, I think that was a smart choice. I think what they've done with the Reborn overall is good. I think that these are smart choices to make playing races that are a little outside the box more evenly balanced with everyone.
I'm sorry, my curmudgeon, get off my lawn, old man just came out in me because I'm still playing in a 3.5 or correction, Pathfinder campaign, and I'm playing a Tam Fury, and I have the issue of a negative energy creature. Therefore, healing spells do not work on me and actually hurt. And in a mixed party in a major combat, it could get kind of dicey. We're like, I need someone to actually hurt me right now, please. Somebody hurt me.
Yeah.
But that, and to me though, that kind of makes playing that style of character unique because it forces that logistical choice on your party and your healers. All right, do I load up on healing that everyone else that I need to fix everyone else, or do I load up on something that can heal the negative energy dude because he's got to be just that guy?
Yeah, I think for me, those type of things are great in a short run or one shot, right? Over a long campaign, having the character that doesn't conform to the healing magic, to the party dynamic of combat the same way everyone else does, gets cumbersome and a little tiring for the whole party to have to take into consideration your special thing every time we have to fight. So I don't find those great for long campaigns. If you want to run your character that way in a short run or a one shot, that's fun and that makes it interesting. But in a long campaign, it can get tedious. I'm not saying it always gets tedious, but sometimes it becomes a burden on your party. And that's a thing. I have a thing I want to talk about at some point, which being a burden on the party is part of,
well, that's part of it though, is it balances out. I think Davy kind of hits it in 3.5 Pathfinder. A lot of those races work because it's meant to be as an offset to enhance racial power. That's not really much of a thing in 5e. Yeah, because it offsets. I've got some serious advantages for being around, but here's a major disadvantage to offset some of the things I can do.
Look what they did with Drow.
Yeah.
In 5e. You had to be a third level character. You had to sacrifice 2 or 3 levels of character class to take the Drow race, which was how they balanced it. And that was cool, but that made Drows fun for like I said, one shots and short terms. But for a long campaign, while everyone else is getting their cool upper level abilities and you're never going to get to the top level of your class because you took Drow, that kind of sucked.
Trade-offs.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take our break. And
it is that time.
We'll be back. We'll be back in 10 minutes, and we're going to get our beverages of choice and our snickety snacks. So hang out. We'll be back. And we are back. Thanks so much for hanging out while we took our break. Sorry, we just a little minute or two over. That's my fault. But we're back to do some more talking with you, the audience. And this is my last day on Cast Guidance, so make sure that you interact because yeah, I'm living by a quote on this one. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
We are all sad that you won't be here.
Yes. Oh, we've had some chat comments. Let's see. David threw a really big, bad whole topic to discuss right there. Two questions responds. Pretty much. Wow. All right. So here's what David put in. Because I just forwarded to break because he likes doing evil things. We played a game in early 3.5 right after transition where he played a succubus out of the savage species multi-class 20 focused on AC by leveraging stupidly high charisma. DM had an issue because he hit everywhere else on a natural 2 or above, but he still needed natural 20s to hit the one character in the party. That's a DM issue we need to talk about. And then has two questions. Says it's possibly utterly bust any game system with sufficient supplements. But it is important to remember that those rules probably aren't written by people in white lab coats thoroughly testing balance. They're written by nerds who wanted to make a really cool thing. And that's some of the things we need to kind of, keep in mind sometimes is they don't spend hours digging through all the ramifications of some of the rules they come up with and the classes, the cool things they want to put out.
Okay, so, one, I got two things on this. One of them is the thing that I mentioned I wanted to talk about earlier, which this dovetails with very nicely. And two is why what Wizards of the Coast is doing right now in working on 1D&D is so revolutionary. They're putting out what they want to, how they want to change the rules to make everything integrate together better and letting us, the players, give feedback on it. We're the ones in the lab coats. We're testing it for balance. We're seeing how it works and we're telling them what we find. We're the peer review of the science of the rules making. And that's really important. And it's a really smart way to do it. And I wish more TTRPG manufacturers did this. Now, D&D is in the unique position that they probably have the largest fan base of any TTRPG out there, so they're going to get the most feedback from their players and the most people who are willing to go and try out the UA stuff and report back. So, I mean, but I know we've said this a bunch, but it's worth repeating. The UA is revolutionary to the RPG world, and the fact that we get to be involved in writing the next version of D&D is super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I wanted to talk about was I listened to a conversation recently about the discourse around min-max. And someone in this discussion said something that really struck a nerve with me, and they got me thinking about my own style, and how I build characters and things. And it's an interesting topic to delve into. What they said was the discourse always seems to be that min-maxers aren't role players. And that's wrong. Now, if there is nothing wrong, in my personal opinion, with playing the mechanics and tinkering with the mechanics that you are given to build a cooler, interesting character. And if that character is more powerful than some of the other characters in the campaign, whose fault is that? It's not the player who made its fault. And the problem isn't that the min-maxer isn't role-playing. It's that they don't fit at your table. and they don't fit because they're not role playing in the same way that the other people at the table are. And that's a different issue. You're diagnosing the wrong problem. You're diagnosing them choosing to take a mechanical advantage as the problem, and that's not the problem. They're playing by the rules. And so that leads to them being more effective in combat. But the problem is that they don't fit at your table if they're not role playing like the other character. So maybe that's just they're not the right table fit for them. But that's the problem, not the other way around.
I could see some of your point there, and I think from a DM looking at it, it's and David illustrates it perfectly in his example there. It's as a DM, I got one min-maxing player who spends, granted, he spent the time to figure out all the crazy rules to make this his bullshit work, but it puts the rest of the party at a serious disadvantage in those type of encounters because, okay, I've got to come up with a counter that can challenge him, but any counter that can challenge him is going to wipe the crap out of the rest of the party.
I feel for that.
That becomes a balance point for the DM. He's got to figure out how do I handle this. And you're right.
And that's the other side of the issue that I wanted to bring up was that when I make characters, I love tinkering with the rules and playing with multi-classing and seeing what interesting things that I can build. And as often as not, I build a character that is super suboptimal as I do a combat god.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to see how these two things mix together and if they will make something fun. And sometimes you get something really cool that'll be really fun to play, but will suck in combat. And sometimes you get something that's really cool and looks really fun to play, but will wipe the floor with anything that gets near it. My Harengon Soul Knife Rogue Totem Barbarian combo that is resistant to everything except psychic damage, I think. And stabs things with its angry mind. That was broken. I admit that was a broken character that min-max could break a game.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I was like, I really wanted to try out that mechanic and see how it worked, the DM shut me down, and rightly so. But that's also led to I tend to roll high for whatever reason. It's something that I've there are some people who they build combat monsters but then can't roll above a 3. Look at the way Tyr's DM rolls go a lot of the time. I have the opposite problem. And because I have that problem, and I say it's a problem, I feel guilty a lot when Tyr has brought us an encounter that he's expecting to last X amount of time. And then, even though I'm not playing a min-maxed out character, I roll really well, and suddenly combat's over. I stab the thing for 600 points of damage, and I'm sorry. And I feel guilty for succeeding, which is not the problem you should have.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm taking fun away from other people if I succeed too hard. And I, as a role player, sometimes want to role play the failure. Sometimes the failure would be more interesting. I have, on occasion, fudged my dice rolls because I think failing the save is more interesting. You know what I mean? Like, or rolling the dice on whether rolling the dice. I roll the dice and I roll a number that I look at and I go, I obviously just made my save here. And I go, but I think failing would be more interesting. So I'm going to fudge my dice number down and take the gamble on whether that's good enough to pass. So I get to feel the tension of the roll. Sometimes rolling the nat 20 is detrimental to the role play. And I'm like, ugh. So like sometimes I'm like, that's a 19 with my bonus. I'm gonna call it a 9, and we're gonna see what happens.
Mhm.
You know, because it's more interesting.
Yeah.
I never fudge my dice up. I always fudge down if I fudge my dice roll because it's more interesting.
Right there's a whole lot going on in chat right now.
Yeah,
Let's see. David did point out though his and that's the other side of the coin. Is he points out that entire character party build, they all were doing optimal builds, but not all of them were focused on combat. Each had a focus on a different area. And so to me, that if everyone's doing a min max build, but they're kind of min max in different areas, that to me works just fine. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
which an area where you're not specialized, that's going to suck for you for a little bit. But the question, Edacia hit a pretty hard one though. Are the min-maxers there to actually incorporate the character into the party, or are they just there to show off how they know the rules so much better than all the other players? And that's an attitude issue, I think, that gets pinned on min-maxers a lot.
Right.
And I've dealt with those players at the table, and that style of play does not work well for long-term in a party.
Right. 2 questions. They did not solve that problem, by the way. The peasant railgun, it still exists in 5e. It still works. Unfortunately,
No, it doesn't.
I mean, rules as written, peasant railgun still works. Because in 6 seconds you can move that spear.
Yeah.
5,000 feet in 6 seconds. Which builds it to a velocity that,
Anyways, although 2 questions does respond to the busted idea of optimized groups that are optimized for different things. Very much the Decker problem, Shadowrun.
That is a huge problem.
With that type of style, playing group, if you're good with that's fine. But if you have groups that are everyone's specialized in one thing, so when you hit that character's speciality, everyone else kind of checks out while you deal specifically with that character, and thus the Decker problem. When you're decking in Shadowrun, everyone else sat down and kind of pulled out a book because you're going to be there a while dealing with their programming.
Yeah. So I mean, and running a Decker in a Shadowrun party that is full of street Sammies and whatnot, you're going to have 2 different encounters going on at the same time in 2 very different spaces that are vaguely connected to each other. My solution to that was I don't allow PC Deckers. You have your crew can have a Decker that you hire. It's an NPC that I'll make rolls for behind the scenes and tell you how good they're doing. You're in communication with the Decker, and the Decker got the door unlocked for you. Oh, no, that door is still locked. Oh, there's an alarm going off. Guards are coming. Now what do you do? You run I think the Decker has to be separate. You can't integrate them into the party.
I did it the other way around. I made everyone Deckers.
That's the other way to do it. But
I'm going to chime in now.
Go ahead, please.
All right, just
get in here.
I've been DMing for 30 some years. You're always going to have min-maxers.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to have them. It's just like you're always going to have people at metagame. Always. About something. They're going to meta about something. So I've found that I change the rules as I go. Not the core rules, but, okay, this monster was hitting on 20s. Now it's hitting on 15s. This monster did have 100 hit points. Now it has 200 hit points. This monster did have an armor class of 15. Oh, now it's 18. Things of that nature. If they jive well with the party and the party jives well with them, I don't see a problem in someone being a min-maxer. It's when you have the conflict and the resistance where they give 2 fucks about the group and the group gives 2 fucks about them where you have a problem. Right.
And that's a bad table fit, like I said, not a problem with the act of min-maxing. And when you have here's the solution. Tier just sort of nailed it on the head, but we're taking a step further as far as I'm concerned. If you have a combat monster min-maxed character in your party, and then a bunch of suboptimal characters with them who are there for very different reasons. Like, you know, they want to play the game in different ways, but they're gelling otherwise. Well, then don't keep track of the monster's hit points. And make sure your monsters are putting more focus on the combat monster than on the characters that are going to get wiped out. You as the DM, you get to choose who the monster attacks. And so you can aim those attacks to put the party in enough danger to make it tense and interesting, while still zeroing down on the person who's designed to take it and designed to deal the most damage. If that character's dealing the most damage, it's natural they are the target of the monster anyway. And so, and then you stop keeping track of the monster's hit points and you let the combat go on until it feels like the combat should end. So you feel like the party is satisfied with the encounter, and then on a cool thing you go, how do you want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
How to
And that's what
describe
we
the
do.
monster's demise? You know, like that's how you run that.
And the other half of that is you don't, and you let the party deal with it, because they built as a party. Okay, cool. You're a combat monster. All right, I'm our charisma. I'm the face. I'm our negotiator. I do all the non-combat role encounters. I'm our thief. I do all our dungeon technique. So they've chosen to specialize. Cool. They all have their role. Well, now they're in a combat encounter that focuses. They have to figure out how to make this work. In some ways, you make that part of the challenge. Okay, we're in a combat, and the combat master is doing something, but we still got someone else coming after us. How do we handle this? You force them to think of how they're going to unique and interesting ways to get out of the combat or survive the combat.
Make them use their toolbox. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, D&D has made it super easy to build a character that's effective in combat that uses whatever stat you want to use to be effective. So even if you are the face, you can play a warlock, you can play a sorcerer who is charisma based and still deal a lot lot in combat. Wizard
Glass cannons are a thing.
But yeah, that's but I mean, and the trade-off is if you have a party full of glass cannons and one uber beast combat monster, they're going to put out a lot of damage, but the combat monster is going to have to pull the aggro to keep them from getting hit. Like, that's an interesting dynamic to play with.
Yeah. And like Tyr says, as long as everyone's gelling as a party, as players, it's all good. And I've been at, we do it all the time. I've been at tables though, and I've run tables where there's one guy as a min-maxer, he's not gelling, and he's purposely just kind of finding ways to break the mechanics of the game just to prove that he can.
Yeah. And, I mean, I remember playing Champions back in the day, and we had a guy who worked a 40 plus hour work week and showed up at the games, and he was tired, but he didn't care about the role play so much. He just wanted to kill things. He would role play, but he also built a character that was like sort of the strong silent type. And so his role play was, what I would consider minimal, but it was effective for the character he made. He made a character that he could role play appropriately, even after a hard day at work, and he just wanted to hit shit. And we as the party understood what he wanted. And when the bad guy showed up, we got the fuck out of his way and let him go hit the thing, and we backed him up. And it was fun for all of us. But he was playing his way. You know what I mean? Like,
but again, he gelled with the party. He gelled with the players at the table.
Yes.
And it's when they don't, and that's where you start to get the bad press. Tyr?
Yeah,
and this comes down to session 0, discussing what's acceptable and what's not. and it comes down to keeping the lines of communication open with your group.
Yeah.
This is why you need to be checking in. Hey, are you having fun? Is there any problems? You know,
Mhm.
I try to check in with you guys on the regular, you
Mhm.
know, make sure everybody's having a good time.
Absolutely. You
Yep.
know, and yeah, it's when you get a group that wants to role play and delve into the emotionality and the stories of their characters, and then you've got that one guy at the table that wants to murder hobo. That's not a good fit. He's not
Yep.
at the right table. Or if you've got a party of murder hobos and you've got the one person that wants to experience the melodrama, that's not a good fit either. That's why session 0 is important, so everybody gets on the same page of what they're expecting. I'm playing in a session 0 tonight in a game system that I want to run in that system eventually, and I want some experience as a player in that system. And it's a group where I've only played with one person in the group before. So, and that's the DM. So, like, I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know if I'm going to gel with the group. I'm hoping I will. I'm hoping we'll all be on the same page. But that's what session 0 is for me to find that fucking shit out. You know, we're doing as our session 0, we're doing character creation where we're going to build our characters all together in this system that none of us has ever played before. System is Forged in the Dark. It's the Blades in the Dark system. Also Scum and Villainy. So
I'm going to take a left turn here.
What?
Rika or Lolly brought up a very important thing. With the standard array I use, everybody's basically min-maxing because I give you 18, 2 16s, 14s, 12, and a 10. I've decided
that's not the array you give us.
Yeah, it is.
18, 16, 14, 12, 12, 10.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yes.
Yeah, you said 2
Listen
16s.
to what I mean,
I'm like
not
that.
what
We
I
don't
said.
get 2 16s, motherfucker.
I wish.
Listen to what I mean, not what I say.
I know. I just wanted to clarify for our listeners.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So what the internal group knows is that I've been toying with a third stream. 350 years in the past, when the Underdark was waging war against the surface, and Vashka, the goddess of death and calamity, was on the verge of escaping their prison, and a group of would-be heroes founded a refugee town called Sword of Hope, went off to find Vashka, disappeared, and the party would be refugees that were selected by lottery to go find the missing heroes. I've decided that if I run this campaign during session 0, we're rolling stats. It's not going to be standard array.
Interesting.
Ooh, that could be. Ooh.
So I have a really interesting character idea for this. I've already pitched here on my my race and class idea, but what I haven't pitched him on, and me and him will need to talk about off air, is the underlying idea behind that. I want to play with something a little different. I want to play with the reason. I'll say this. I want to play a barbarian, and I want to play with the reason why a barbarian is like. I have an idea, and Tyr and I will have to talk about it later. But so
here's my shock face for you.
Yeah, if this campaign happens and I play in it, I have an interesting idea about where my raid.
Well,
as a barbarian.
Let's talk about Tyr's array. It is a min-max, but isn't. Depending on how you do it. You know, a 10 is still interesting because it allows for a slightly increased start.
Would you like for me to explain why I use this array?
Sure.
Because everybody is good at something. Everybody has one thing that they excel at. That's where the 18 comes in. And everybody has some things, some hobbies or whatever they dive into that they're pretty mediocre at. They're pretty good at. There's where the 16 comes in. And then we all have things that we're okay with that we still enjoy. That's where the rest of the stats come in.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're a fighter, you're going to be really good at that one thing. And if that's strength training, maybe you're a farm boy. Maybe, maybe you're whatever, So that's where that array comes from.
I would like to point out that at level 12, Sarek, the Dragonborn fighter, still has a dex of 10. I have yet to change that because it's kind of a unique feature for him at this point.
So here's the thing. This is my opinion on ability, how you get your stats in general. I have never liked rolling stats. No matter how fair you try to make it. And I've played under all kinds of different DMs. I've played under the roll 3d6 in order for your stats, and then you figure out what kind of class you can make. I've played under DMs that were like roll 4d6, drop the lowest, re-roll 1. And when you get to the end of your set of stats, if you don't like it, throw it out and start over. But you can't just re-roll one particular one. You have to throw the whole thing out and start over. And that's cool, but I've never liked it. For the same reason that I don't like building super optimized combat characters, for the same reasons we were just talking about, because I tend to roll high and then I feel guilty when I show up with a character that I legitimately rolled and everyone else has shitty stats and I'm a god compared to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel bad. And I don't want to feel bad about my character that I made compared to everyone else's because the dice were kind to me. I like the standard array. I like the point buy system. Tier's standard array is a step up from the regular standard array. But what I take from that is in D&D, not everyone is an adventurer. And the people who are called to adventuring are the people with the potential to rise above. And, they're the people who can get shot by 8 or 9 arrows and not fucking fall down dead. They are somewhat superhuman as they begin leveling up. So giving us a heroic starting array so that our stats already reflect that potential of growth that we are going to embark upon as we level it feels right to me. And it makes the characters feel like they start off special in the world. You know what I mean? It's the difference. And one last thing real quick, and then I'll let you say what you want to say to here. And that is, I played Champions for a long time. Champions is a system where you have X amount of points to put into a character. And there's Avengers level, there's heroic level, and there's street level. And that's how I think about Tier's array. Like, regular D&D standard array is street level campaign. This is a heroic level campaign where we're building to be the Avengers. Go ahead, Tier.
And that's the thing about it. That's why I give the stats that I do. And that's why the reason that I'm having people roll stats for this is because they're not adventurers. They're not people that are set apart. They're refugees in the middle of a war that have been drawn by lottery to go find the heroes.
Mm-hmm. And being able to roll occasionally does make for an interesting player character setup. And, you have to, rolling for your abilities like that guides you to what character you're going to play. The other way around, when you do a points buy system, which I prefer, is you get to decide what character you want to play, and then you build your character out of what you got for points. It's a different way of going about it.
Tier, I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to assume that us rolling stats for these characters in our session 0 is we're going to be allowed to place our stats where we want them and not have
Yeah.
to roll them in order down the line. Yeah.
Here's how I do it.
Yeah.
4d6, drop the lowest, make 2 columns. Pick from the columns.
That's fair.
2 questions just
Bye,
dropped.
Ustad. It was good seeing you.
And later, Ustad. Dungeon Crawl Classics does precisely what the character this with character gen. You make a ton of level 0 characters. The one who survives becomes level 1.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a broken system in a lot of ways. It was a very harsh system, but Twilight 2000.
Oh God, yes. Oh,
You could die in character creation
yep.
because you could continue. You could I'm going to keep rolling, and the more you rolled, the more cool shit your character got. But you run the risk of that character dies in his backstory, and then you just throw that out and start over. And at some point, you go, you know what? I'm cool enough.
Yeah.
I was always the guy that, if I can make Sergeant, that's when I stop. Because it was a military campaign, so you had to have a military rank.
That was the thing as I get older, in the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of the systems coming out at that time frame had that mechanic in it. Twilight 2000, Aliens, the role-playing game. Battletech, Mech Warrior had that mechanic for a while where you, all right, another year, make another roll, get some more stats, and potentially you die. Yeah. And that seemed to be kind of the thing, the cool thing, the meta thing to do for that time period for a while. But
and another thing that takes a divergence from the way I normally do things. Normally, when I start a campaign, I start the characters off at level 3. That way, they've got their subclass, they've got some cool shit, they know, what direction they want. With this one, they'll start at level 1.
Ooh. That makes a difference.
That could be fun. You broke Locke's thought process on that character now.
Yeah, now you got me going. Do I want to change my idea?
Haha. What? We got turnabout here? Where Tyr screws with Locke's brain for once?
I'll play a character that gets a subclass at level 1. Damn it! I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm. Yes, for those who don't know, Locke likes dropping ideas that make the rest of us go, that could be fun, and then we squirrel off and make a whole new world or new part of our world about it because he's a jerk.
I'm good at that. No, but this story meshes nicely with what we've been talking about. We had a player at our table that did not fit well. He was a friend of a friend who came, and he did not gel well. He was he had main character syndrome in every game I ever played with. And he rolled a character. I'm going to put rolled in quotation marks, so he rolled a character because I don't trust that he did it legitimately. Because this guy was a douche and, like I said, had main character syndrome. He rolled a character for Twilight 2K that walked in as a general and immediately started barking orders and telling us all what we needed to be doing. And this person was not a tactician and was not good at strategy. And what he was telling us to go do was going to get all of us killed except him.
That's perfect for a general.
And so my Master Sergeant character immediately committed mutiny and shot him in the fucking head. Because I wasn't going to go die for this dumbass who wanted us to do something very stupid just to for his own whims. He is one of the few people that has brought out PvP in me in a malicious sort of way. And I was like, no. And, we started arguing at the table, and I'm like, I've killed very few player characters in my time playing TTRPGs. And most of them were his. I mean, he showed up in a game where, for some reason, it was a D&D 2nd edition game. We were all straight class. had very strict rules for character creation, and he walked in with a fighter mage that seemed like he was levels above us, and was a Minotaur, which was not a race we were offered. And I was playing a druid, and druids in second edition were true neutral, and we had webbed a bunch of goblins or whatever, gnolls that were attacking us. I don't remember what. And they were webbed between some trees and were incapacitated for the moment, and we had to decide what to do with them. And he just turned and cast Fireball on the helpless, incapacitated, webbed creatures. And not only set fire to them and killed them, but also set fire to the forest. And so my druid turned and killed.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well,
he was in that campaign for all of 3 minutes.
Well, that's a problem for the DM though. The DM 1A, he showed up with a character that was not part of the character build and character construction rules, and he allowed it. So the DM's allowing that. That's a problem with the DM.
Yeah.
It is. It was. Yeah. No, there was. I mean, I think the DM was a very not confrontational sort.
Mhm.
Who, when this person would push, DM would cave a bit to let them have their ways because it was easier than arguing with. And yeah, pretty much, David. Yeah. And the forest was just the straw that broke the camel back. The burning the forest was it. It says, if you read what it says under true neutral in fucking second edition, it was, if your party outnumbers and outclasses the bad guys, you will fucking switch sides to help the bad guys because
Mhm.
they're at disadvantage. And so the
Yep.
fact that he killed it, helpless beings that couldn't defend themselves. Nope, it's on, and you set my forest on. So
Yeah.
like I said, I rarely dip into PvP against player character, and like that guy just brought it out in me.
I don't know. Is it PvP if you just break their hands?
I mean,
at one point, I was seriously considering breaking a certain Kender's hands because he kept picking up that damn crown. Can I break his hands? Well, that's part of the joy of that character.
yeah, and there are. I mean, this person also, like, they did some other bullshit at the table. My girlfriend at the time hit them in the nose and damn near broke their nose with the spine of a book because they were sexually harassed. So,
Well,
like,
Okay.
it's a thing.
Here.
Okay, here's the thing. That shit should have been stopped by the DM. That person should have been kicked out of the table. It should have been addressed. And I understand there's DMs out there that don't want to do conflict. I understand that. I don't like conflict. But I'll be goddamned if I'm going to let somebody be sexually harassed at my table.
Well, the thing was, the sexual harassment happened. You have to understand, this was the mid 90s. This person had seen my girlfriend's profile on a kink dating site. And so as we're sitting at the table, this person leaned over to my girlfriend and said that he had seen her on that site, and that if she didn't want everyone to know, she would give him some consideration. And she picked up the player's handbook and hit him with the spine of it in the fucking nose.
Good.
And then I took him outside and told him we were at my house at the time. I told him to get the fuck off my property and never come back. And the DM apparently thought that was a bit harsh at the time, but then, like, caved. It was it was a whole thing. But anyway, that's like I say, the DM was not aware of the sexual harassment until the spine hit the dude in the nose because it was very quiet and happened very quickly. But it was still sexual harassment. It was still blackmailing someone with their sexuality. So,
Yeah, I would never let that shit happen at my table. Try it.
yeah.
No.
No,
That's one of those fuck around and find out moments.
But
yeah, it's on the harsh side of DMing.
So
So,
here's the thing. Here's the thing. As a DM, there's going to be times that you have to do things that you're not comfortable with. There's times you're going to do stuff that's going to piss off your players. Like when you kill their girlfriend because they wouldn't give you a certain object, things of that nature. The character's girlfriend, not the player's girlfriend.
right. No, and to be fair, I was not pissed off at you. I was just frustrated in the moment because
you were pissed. You even said that I was railroading you. That was your words.
I did not say you were railroading us. I said this feels kind of railroady. That's what I said. And then I said I'm not mad at you. I'm just really frustrated right now, and I need to work through it. That I was not pissed. I was frustrated, and I needed to process what happened. I needed to process it. I did, and I did. I processed it, and now I'm fine with it in retrospect. But
yes, I need some popcorn.
No, just wait till tomorrow night. You're all gonna be pissed. So
crap.
But look, so I mean, it's fine. Yeah, no, you're gonna deal with stuff like that as a DM. You have to resolve the conflicts at your table, and you can't shy away from it.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you stir them up.
Yeah, and it's it's one of those. And I was gonna say something, and then I forgot when Tyr brought up killing my girlfriend. Yeah. Damn it! I lost the thread. I lost it.
I see my fan base just like turned traitor on me again. That was a quick switch.
Okay, what's tomorrow night?
Offered me popcorn, and then tomorrow night she said, "Oh, I'll have popcorn ready for herself tomorrow night." Sins of Blood tomorrow night.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They're gonna have the popcorn ready.
I
keep thinking the day's Thursday, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's happening Friday night? But it is Friday.
It's Friday. It's
I'm
Friday
tired.
By Garth O'Keefe's Sacred Chain. It's Friday, Tyr.
Look, I got up at 6 o'clock this morning trying to get myself acclimated for a day shift job.
Yep.
I'm exhausted. My brain is mush.
Mm-hmm.
Look, yeah, there's
wait, does that mean he's got lots of rest on the weekend for tomorrow night? I don't think it's a good idea.
I'm going to be well rested for tomorrow night. I have to be. Because this is going to be such a complex clusterfuck.
Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like those terms you're using there. They feel uncomfortable.
Don't worry. If it TPKs, I have a plan.
Oh God. Right.
I mean, I've got my backup character. I'm ready to go.
I'll have to come up with one now, damn
it. I've got a plan, and it's a brilliant plan. So,
but yeah, so like, I don't know. My brain is still derailed. I can't. I was gonna say a thing, and now it's gone, and it's driving me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to share a story.
Share a story with us, too.
This is one of the funnest endings to something that I have done. I ran a mini campaign called 2 Days of Terror for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And it was creepy. It was spooky. It was delicious.
Mhm.
At the end of it, the orderlies came to help everyone back to their room because they were elderly in a nursing home playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Uh-huh.
That's
There are,
awesome.
there are times in this campaign for Sins of Blood where I wonder if that's not the case.
I still have my character I made for that and didn't get to play because something was going on during that weekend, and I had planned to play and then I couldn't play, and I remember being sad because I had built the character for it.
Yeah, I may have got sick.
That's what it was. Yeah,
Mm.
I was like, I know something happened,
Yeah,
and I
may
was
have
like,
got
nope,
sick.
I can't make it. That would have been about the time of the diagnosis. Yeah. So yeah, that was on that down note.
Yeah, we kind of
Sorry.
hit these.
No. It's fine. It's fine. Let's. I'm good. It's I'm in an all right place right now. I can joke about it.
Mhm. So, chat, you got anything for us? Now's the time. Oh, diesel shots here. Cool.
Yeah, and remember, this is Tier's last cast
Yeah,
guidance.
this is my last cast guidance. So
for at least
if
a
you-
minute.
For a minute,
We're
we'll
not
see.
we're not discounting you. You'll be
But
back.
yes,
So
chat, come on, speak up. Now, ask Tier anything. Now is
ask
your
me
chance.
anything. Ask
So-
me anything. Or if you got anything to say to me, let it be said.
That's right.
Thanks, 2 questions. I'm excited.
Yep, new job. So, Tier, what's your favorite die?
D20. The favorite D20, I don't have them out right now, is a about a 50 millimeter, and when it lands on a 20, it lights up.
Oh,
Ooh.
nice. Yeah, I have to say, do I have them easily accessible?
Uh-oh.
What's your question, David? The tungsten D20s that Ryan let me borrow killed somebody. Those were awesome. Can you elaborate 2 questions?
I think I know it. Oh. There's a couple
Nothing.
questions coming.
Nothing. There's nothing in the world. There's not enough money. There's not enough candy. Look, I'll do some pretty shady shit for some peanut butter and chocolate. There's not enough money in the world for me to allow a multi-class character in one of my campaigns.
Uh-huh. And
I was gonna say, I sort of appreciate that because I like multi-classing so much that playing in tiers games is always kind of fun because it forces me to experience a character all the way through as a straight character. Lets me really appreciate the class. But I do miss making multi-class. I still make multi-class characters. I just don't get to play them anymore.
well, there's that,
Okay,
or you
questions.
change characters. But Tier,
My thought on this is that I don't like it because if you look at the averages, you're going to do higher damage on 2d6 than you are on a single d12.
Mhm.
So on the +2, having them roll a d6 instead of a d4, yeah, it gives them a chance for a higher. So single die, I would be okay with, but like when you have 2d6 versus 1d12, 2d6 you have the average. If you do the statistical calculations, you do more damage with 2d6 than you do with 1d12.
Yep.
So I feel like that's handicapping my players.
but
Yeah,
there are systems based around it who use the high. I now got a higher die. I use a bigger die now for my roll because I am slightly better.
I actually, my Squire brother has been working on a system, and I've been playtesting it on and off, and even helped do some writing for it. And it's a cool system. It's called Elements of Adventure, and it is there's a betting system included. So at any point, everything is percentile based. So at you've got with any skill you're using or any attack you're using, you have X percentage chance to hit. Now let's say my percentage chance to hit is 90%. So I have to roll lower than 90 on the die and I hit. I can go, I'm going to trade 5 percentage points and bring my average down, my 2-hit percentage down to 85 to take, or I don't remember exactly how it works. It's one amount that you can drop it down to increase your die size to go from a D4 to a D6 damage. And then there's another percentage that you can drop to go from one of that die type to two of that die type. And mathematically, because we've been playing with the system, mathematically, it is always more advantageous to take more dice than it is to take bigger dice.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's 5 to go up a die, and it's 10 to double to add another one of those die. So sometimes you just you're like, yeah, I'm willing to trade 15 points to go up a die and take 2 of those for damage. I'll always go down to a coin flip. I'll always take it down to 50%. Yeah.
Welsh Turk, I will miss you as well. I'm excited myself, and I'll still be here Saturdays and Sundays, running Sins of Blood and Bloodlines.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of other things on the Will of the Dice channel, Shots and Daggers. How's that going?
Well,
Oh,
we've had our
Go ahead.
we've had our 3rd episode so far. It's doing good. What was you gonna say, Lark?
Oh, I was going to say I having played in Shots and Daggers more than one. Not all of them on stream. I was in some of the playtests. It is such a fun little system. It is really it's really a story-driven system. But it is really fun to play in that, I got drunk at the pub after a successful adventure, and now shit's happening around me, and I'm slowly getting more sober. It is a very it is a game where you are constantly laughing at yourself and others. So I highly recommend. Yes, there's a schedule link on the landing page, folks. So be sure to check that to see when the next Shots and Daggers is going to be.
Mm-hmm. Or just all our.
Just remember Saturdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. here.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say earlier that I have been slowly working on picking up the D&D cartoon character action figures, like little Bobby here. And something really cool. I also have Hank with me as well, Ranger. Because Rangers are awesome. I'm waiting until I get the gelatinous cube so I can get Eric and stick him in it because he's the one that deserves to be inside a gelatinous cube.
That reminds me, real quick. Part of that D&D stream they're putting on, they're going to be replaying the old D&D cartoon on it as well.
Hell yeah! But each character you buy in the action figures comes with these cool little dice. And so the Ranger comes with a D8 because that's the Ranger's hit die. And the Barbarian comes with a D12. Their hit die. And they're
lovely D12.
So I think you get a whole set of dice if you buy all of the characters.
That's cool.
I desperately want to get the Dungeon Master Venger combo pack that's out.
We really enjoyed doing the show. A couple years ago, I went to Locke and said, what do you think about if we do a talk show where we just talk rules, minutia, and shit for shits and giggles?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was here. And it breaks my heart that I have to step away.
Mm-hmm.
But needs must and all that. And like I said earlier, I'm not going to cry because it's over. I'm going to smile because it happened.
And everyone remember, Tyr always has a seat at this roundtable discussion.
Yes.
If at any point he can come back, he will be welcome back.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So we're not kicking him to the curb. There is no well, he's gone now and this is our show. No, if he can come, he just has to show up. That's all we need. We'll work everything else out from there.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
So
And yes, you're leaving it to us. Oh, sorry. That's the
I'm
way
not
it-
leaving you unsupervised though. Lolly's around. And
Yes,
I'll be listening as I can from work. Joining in the chat as I can.
Yep.
Yes.
It's been a
And-
hell of a ride. And I want to thank both of you for taking this ride with me.
Hell yeah.
It-
I mean, I have to
it-
admit, I was a little iffy when you said you wanted to bring Wrath on. I was like, really, that guy? But
But we're going to get out of here. Let's remind people who we are, where they can find us.
Greetings, gamers. I've been Raph the Mad, one of your co-hosts for this random train wreck of an episode. And I can be found at BLK Dragon 13,000 at dice.camp on Mastodon.
hi, gamers. I'm still Locke Clark, and you can find me on the social medias at Locke Unruly. That's Locke with an H.
And I'm Tara the DM, the world's okayest DM. And you can find me on Twitter at Tara_the_DM. Remember that love and inclusion, these are the torches that light a path to a better tomorrow. Come join us and be torchbearers. And Locke and Raph, you have the con.